So, and that is actually the reason why coming to this conference and the initiatives of the European Commission is so important to me. I think the best way out that we have is shifting our mindset around lifestyle changes, and it has to be ICT enabled. If you look at it in a philosophical manner, we had a big shift in around 1450, the Renaissance. And it coincided very much, I think almost on the year accurate, with the invention of the printing press. So we had the printing press in 1450 to turn around 50 million people, I don't know how many there were in Europe at that point in time. We definitely need something like ICT-enabled change for 7 billion. Right, so the third point is actually part of the problem, is the only way to, let's say, achieve 450 ppm CO2 is by really reducing our consumption in a very dramatic manner. And this is the sort of message that I'm working on with the military, because as a friend of mine said, only the military is actually paid to deal with the unthinkable. So how much would you have to reduce? And for instance, in Australia, when we talked with experts there, it might be up to 80% of the type of consumption that we are seeing now as normal. In military terms, what it actually boils down to, what humanity needs more than anything, is real situational awareness. We do not understand what actually is really happening in an integrated manner. The Earth is a pretty complex system, but it's good, and this is how my military friends look at it. They look at the Earth as a spaceship, and you just look at it in terms of what's the probability that I can do a successful mission and return to my base. At present, according to their sums, we are probably at 50% probability. You would not like to board a plane if you had that probability of landing safely. Yeah. It's literally the guys who are working with us have worked with the likes of Boeing and so on. They've done these type of simulations. So the challenge is really, as I mentioned earlier, to create a very fundamental shift in mindset. And the way that I'm amongst others involved in this is along two lines. It is working with a number of institutions around the world who are highly credible in developing a number of scenarios, and one of them which should really lead us to a sustainable future. And that will be the difficult message. And the only way I feel to make it desirable is by all the sort of very positive initiatives that, for instance, were mentioned yesterday, and Jeff summarized brilliantly as well. So if I can almost skip the next slide, because I hadn't realized that this was all being covered.
You're now out of time, Jack, so you better skip the next slide.
Thank you. That's perfect. So Transition Towns is an initiative, for instance, that you might know of, and this is all focusing about climate change resilience. There's a similar initiative sponsored by the Rockefeller Foundation in Asia, where they do the same around Asian cities. Now, this has been much better covered by Jeff already, so I don't need to dwell on that. It is just the point that I would like to make. If I quote what Commissioner Kroes was saying yesterday, no problem, particularly of this kind, can be resolved at the same level of consciousness that created the problem. It implies that we really need to think in a very different way. We have to lift our game to a very different level, think out of the box, and start thinking in the short term rather than 40 years from now. It's more about prototyping than analyzing, if you see what I mean. So I look forward to taking this further in the discussion with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.